This is one tip to defeat every single rank in Siege Year 10. So tag a friend below who has not hit champion or has been hard stuck in their rank so that way they can see this video. And let's try to hit 1500 likes in this video and let's get into it. So my first tip with copper would be to move around and drone more. Now, as a new player, you do not know anything about the map, so try your best not to drive your drone into the building. Just leave it outside to whatever your spawn location is. And if you don't know where you're spawning in from, then you'll just eventually learn playing the game. But no matter where you're pushing, I would recommend not pushing the site head direct on. Whenever you approach a window or a door frame, obviously you don't know the map that well, so I use like a 2-room rule. Just drone it out at least 2 rooms ahead of where you're trying to push in from. So you can see your character, you're a little not too far away, then it's good to hop in. Now, you kind of want to follow the trail. Keep droning in about 2 extra rooms. So let's say, bathroom and, astrology, this room, right? Okay, looks pretty clear. Let's go in. I'm going to take that room a bit more. And if I really want to, I can just repeat these processes until I actually eventually find someone. But this will kind of help you not drone out too much. That way, when you get off the drone, you're working off some information. You're kind of think about it like you're following yourself on a leash, and then eventually you get closer to the bomb site. Now, when you're on defense, it's the same thing. Instead of droning, I want you actually moving around more. The whole point of moving around and you droning more is this gets you around the map more, learning and exposing yourself to new angles, because most coppers just want to do this. They want to just barricade in sight and then only play the 2 bomb sites. Now the information is very limited, and it's very limited what gunfights they can learn and improve with the game. Instead, just set up site a little bit, and I would recommend just kind of strolling around the bomb site. Even if you do get lost a little bit, this will get you in a lot more different rooms, different gunfights, different sounds across the map. You'll be learning way more than if you were staying in these 2 rooms. Now, just be careful. Don't wander off too far, because a lot of the times there's areas of the map where you shouldn't be holding certain parts of the round. So again, just like the drone rule, maybe no farther than 2 rooms away from the bomb site and you're good. When are the piano tips video coming out? Bro, I don't play instruments, bruh. Not every Asian plays instruments. Hey, Tony, how's the sign business going? Bro, yo, that's too far, bro. Yo, that's too far, bro. All right, now that we've moved on to bronze, I do want emphasis on good crosser placement and not sprinting all the time. I want to combine those 2 because you obviously can't have that good crosser placement when you're sprinting all the time, right? Because your gun's not up. A general tip, when you're inside the building, you should be sprinting maybe 10% or maybe even 5% of the time. You should save sprinting when you get more advanced on taking cover behind corners and getting to cover faster. But for the most part, if I just kept sprinting around just to get to the place faster, I could be exposed to a window, exposed to a lot of people holding angles. You're better off just staying around cover and waiting for the right time to move around. And also, when you're sprinting going really fast as a bronze, your crosser placement's all over the place. So we want to fix that. First, we want to be aiming head level. I say this every single time because it's so important. But if you go up to a barricade, you can see that the buckle is about right here. There's 2 buckles and you want to go for the second one. This will be head level no matter what. Now imagine if your crosser was locked here on every single part of the map, because remember, character models can't jump. Most of the time they can only go prone, but they cannot go higher than this right here. And it's a lot easier just to look down than it is to look up sometimes. Now that your crosser is in the general direction of your screen for head level, we're going to be adding pre-aiming some angles. Now this comes with some map knowledge, but instead of walking around the map with no direction, you're kind of just following what's in front of your screen. Kind of think about it. When you learn map knowledge, oh, there's a doorway right here. So we're just going to pre-aim that a little bit more. So then you get in the habit of cutting your angles more instead of just going one big motion, because cutting your angles will help you a lot more with reaction time too. Now, another thing that can throw off crosser placement, I know, is recoil. Now, let's say if I'm using the SMG-11 and I'm off-wadded, boom, that is going everywhere. So you got to get used to whenever you shoot your gun, you're just consciously looking down. You don't have to look perfectly straight down. If I'm clearing at an angle like this, I can't just look directly down, right? So you just kind of have to get into the muscle memory of it. It's going to feel weird at first because other games don't have as strict recoil as Siege does. But once you get the recoil down, then you're not going to be aiming all over the place. And a tip for recoil, go into your controls, advanced ADS. A lot of you guys have it on standard, but you actually do not want to do that. You want to have one advanced. So that way, mainly your 1x and your ACOG, your 2.5. Do not worry about these 3. because you're not going to be using these scopes. Mainly you want your ACOG and your 1X fast enough where you can be clearing angles and your crosshair's not slowing down. It's not going too fast, but it's just right where you can clear angles and match with your movement. And if recoil still feels hard, try hiring your ADS sensitivity so that way you can control recoil faster. But remember, bronzes, just have pre-placed crosshair placement, aim head level, and avoid sprinting around so much so that way you're always gun up ready and you can focus more on controlling your recoil. Master Oogway. Yo, can y'all not call me Sensei or Master Oogway, bro? Bro, someone on YouTube chat just said, when's the ramen eating contest? Bro, what? Yo, you guys are cooked. All right, congratulations. You made it to silver. We're close to being the average rank in the game, but silver is still, you have some things to work on. I want you to focus on gravitating towards action. We're going to be unlocking more than just what's on our screen. We're going to be using sound cues. We're going to be thinking about common places where they enter the map from. If you are still new to sound cues, I know it is a little overwhelming at first, but I want you to understand that there's a lot of sounds in Siege, but there is only one of those sounds ever. Like me shooting my weapon, this certain weapon has one sound cue. Me knifing, me leaning left, me aiming down my sights, crouching, a grenade going off. Any sound you can think of, it's so unique that you know exactly what that sound is, so you can kind of predict a little bit more. When I hear a certain barricade break across the map or a certain gun, I can kind of predict what operator and what kind of push they might be doing. Like obviously if I hear, you know, a clunky shield running up the staircase, that obviously means he's going for a fast push. Or if I hear Buck's, you know, shotgun opening up the wall down here, you know, it means he's gonna come up from the basement, right? So you kind of have to kind of predict a little bit on common patterns of what they're going to be doing. But as a player, you don't have to figure all of this out in silver, but any kind of sound, gunshots, walls breaking, being opened up, even drones, just gravitate towards the action. This way, you're not just sitting in sight and you're kind of just thinking about what's on your screen. Because in Siege, you can only gather so much information by just looking at your screen and like maybe some sound cues here around. You got to be constantly moving so you can pick up on new information, and this ultimately will give you a better read on what they're doing. Obviously, I'm not saying don't take every single gunfight you hear and like all that, but this will give you like better positioning. Let's say if I hear them pushing library more, or if I hear them outside main door, then I'm gonna kind of camp out right here and see if I can pick one off. But this works the same thing on attack. Let's say if I'm Deimos, right, or I'm Jackal, and I hear the bomb sites upstairs, and I hear a roamer run down to games to go spawn peek. I'm gonna gravitate towards that. I'm gonna make sure I spawn over there. I know this is a little risky, but like, you know, defenders will do this, and they'll try to get a nice spawn peek on you. Then I would just pre-fire this window. Again, I'm gravitating towards opportunities and action, so that way I can get a more of a consistent lead on the round. So crane kick everyone. Yo, shut the fuck up. But again, this does connect with Copper. What we told earlier is just get outside of the bomb site early on, and that way we can counter the attack or defense better. So at first, just gravitate whatever sounds you hear and maybe even take for a gunfight, because a lot of the time when you're in silver and below, bro, they're not expecting someone to swing them and take a gunfight. So you playing a little aggressive actually works in your favor. But eventually you'll know when to play not too aggressive and you know to dial it back. All right, congratulations. We're now in gold. We're actually a little bit above the average rank right now, so you're now an average player. But if you want to get above average, keep watching the video. My tip to defeat and pass gold is use more game chat. I know the biggest struggle people have in Siege is Athieno. I don't have friends to play with. Athieno, my friends are at school. I have no one to play with. I have to solo queue. But then when I solo queue, nobody talks and no one works with me. And we all know solo queue teammates suck and all that, right? But you need to talk more. If you're not talking, bro, no one else is probably gonna talk.
One's still outside the trophy window.
Just play our cams, give us comms.
He's repelling big window, Grim.
You'd be surprised whenever at the beginning of the match, you'd be like, basic, hi. Hey, what's up, guys? You guys ready to win? And you might get 1 to 2 people to come out their shell and talk. If everyone has the mindset of, oh, if no one else is gonna talk, then I'm not gonna talk, then no one talks. So even if they aren't responding back right away, they might call out like later in the match, but just give out good call outs. Hey, they're pushing over here. Or can we get a rotate right here? Have the incentive to not be toxic and just help your team. Eventually it becomes a habit where you might even be giving calls to nobody. They're just flanking blue right now, I think. but it's better to have that call out habit than none at all. Now that we're in gold, you want to get this habit early on of working with your team, because Siege is a team-based game. You can't just like solo carry everything. You could be stomping fucking Spoit, Bolo, Uzi, all these really good fraggers, right? But without a good team, you're gonna get mogged by a team that works better than your team. That's just how it works. Also, this is how you add people. I hate to say it, but in my opinion, I feel like in the year 10, these looking for group posts, apps, R6 public Discord. I mean, I think looking for group posts, maybe, I don't know how the current they are because I usually use them back on Xbox and PS4, but I feel like a lot of the times those are just kind of like very hit or miss players. I feel like when you solo queue and you give callouts, you can see exactly how that player plays, their gameplay, their comms, you know, how they are as a person a little bit. And if you want to queue with them, you can send them a friend request. You also can run into a lot of like sus, like cheaters, smurfs on the public Discord, and most of the time they're just looking to play for like a day or two and they might just dip and never get back on. But I feel like solo queue is like one of the best organic ways to just meet people on there, and in that way you can get stacks going. So when you're in gold, you can add other golds but then you meet someone who was plat, and then that plat player invites his plat friends, and then boom, and now you got like a better stack going. Just use more game chat, guys. 1, it promotes teamwork. 2, it can get you future teammates in a future stack. And 3, it gets your callouts going. It gets you learning to use more callouts of like, hey, what this map is, what the team should be doing. Like callouts in teamwork are elite skills that like even pro league players look out for. So use game chat more. Genghis Khan giving war strats. Yo, can you guys, how are you guys still going, bro? All right, so congratulations, you moved up to platinum now. You're now not going up against people who are brand new to the game anymore. I know rank 2.0 is still a thing, but now you potentially might face champions. Again, rank 2.0. You probably already faced that already in gold a little bit. But what I'll be saying, one tip to defeat platinum is obviously learn defaults and common patterns. Defaults, I mean, I've been saying this for years. Everyone kind of knows. A default is basically, again, it's like a very fixed pattern that happens on a bomb site. On attack, let's say the bomb site's basement, right? As an attacker, you want to start with the hatches, because taking top first is, we need that in order to close out the round. Let's say if they have a K-Claw or like electricity on the hatch, you're going to need to bring EMPs. So now that we have both the hatches open, we'll get the flanks down. And the pattern that I'm going off of is very similar to every other bomb site. What are the essential walls that need to get opened up? Next, let's cover our flanks, so that way we can maintain map control of what we want, right? And then eventually leading on to where we want to plant the bomb. So we have very fixed patterns and rooms to take. We don't bother pushing in somewhere random every single time, because that wastes time and creates inconsistency. Eventually you'll learn that planting right here, is the bomb site down here? No, it's not. Let's pretend the bomb site's down here. But then I'll know to like, okay, we're gonna open up this wall on the very side because I can cover myself pretty well. Now that we have control of here, let's say it's about like midway through the round towards the end, then I know to like backwards plant, you know, because I'm safer doing that. You'll hear a lot, he's planting default, or hey, can you plant default? The reason why it's called that is because, again, it's just a very fixed push. It's the safest spot where you can plant possible without, you know, being exposed, which is very common here or like behind the bomb. But basically it's here because you're behind cover. Now, there's about 2 of these defaults on every single map. Obviously learn 1, but it's very good to learn the second one. Now, the second default for this bomb site would be the backside, like a lobby push, right? We would have people push more the garage side. You can open up the elevator hatches. It's basically like choosing which bomb site to isolate. We don't want to take both the bombs. We're just gonna attack half of the bomb site. One half is over there, the other half is over here. So for every single map, every single bomb site, there's always going to be 2. So try to recognize those patterns. Not only just the patterns of the general attack. When we're walking out of spawn, what are the common spawn peaks? What are common rat angles? Let's say if I'm entering through here, right? Some people like to prone right here. It eventually becomes like a small checklist of, okay, is anyone doing anything stupid? If not, then we can proceed. But if they are, then we have to shut it down immediately. All right, now the defense side of a default, you know, there's always the site setup. You're going to have certain rotations and holes. Sometimes you'll see these holes too. These have become very default. Certain walls that get reinforced. So again, the bomb sites never change, right? So you always want to like get this knowledge down of where the holes and reinforcements goes, because this is the most optimal way to counter any common pushes and entry. Oh, wrong way. Common pushes and entry points. So all that stuff I was talking about on attack of where we want to plant and what rooms we want to take, on defense, we're trying to counter that exact thing. On attack, everyone always attacks outside master. Everyone always walks top main. Everyone always pushes up wide stairs or big window. Eventually, when you have very common like danger points on the map, then that allows you to move around them better as the round goes on. And ultimately, you kind of know where to sit and, you know, which is the best spot to take on that gunfight. One thing I will say is learning these patterns is going to take a lot of trial and error. Siege is the best FPS out there. You're gonna die a lot. You're gonna lose a lot. You're gonna have a lot of moments like, bro, what is the default here? I'm so lost. That is completely normal. I went through that many times growing up and playing in this game, but repetition is exactly what you need to learn. So that way, when you know what's wrong, you learn how to outsmart that. It's the best feeling in the world, which is why I think players keep coming back to Siege. So if you can just keep a very open mind and push through those losses, the mini ones, you're going to bounce back better than ever. But ultimately, learning all the common patterns and default takes, this will make you spot a lot more mistakes in the enemy. So now you're the one turning the tables against them. We are learning how to catch dogs and make rice fields with this. Okay, bro. Yo, why is my chat so fucking brain dead? All right, moving on to Emeralds. We're going to be talking about space makings and playing aggressive versus passive, because now that we've already passed plat, as an Emerald, you already know the defaults. You know where to make the side setups. You know where to plant the bomb. You know how to like the common patterns. But the issue is an Emerald, if everyone knows all those patterns, how do you outsmart them? Well, good question. Not everyone in Emerald is already a coordinated team. Remember, this is a team game. So if you can find the chinks in the armor, then you can exploit them and eventually make a lead for your team. For example, let's say I'm an attacker, right? We all know, you know, as these windows get opened up, you can kind of like peek in, maybe try to get a lucky kill or two. Then, you know, the main wall gets opened up, but then everyone's just standing out here and don't really know what to do. The next step is to enter the building, but everyone's just staying out here, right? So what you gotta do is you gotta find the gap. The gap is, where is a defender that's playing by himself that I can take a gunfight on? I can force a gunfight on him. Maybe the enemy has their back turns towards me, right? Let's say, you know, there's a guy top red and he's challenging the people outside this door, right? Then if I see that right away, I can hop in and shoot him and then maybe come back out. Now they're down a person, or maybe vice versa. Let's say there's a guy green stairs, right? This is a very common one, but I'll throw a grenade. He's going to run away. And then boom, I hop in, kill this guy. Now I have this map control. I can contest this right here now. I can walk in the bomb site now and contest anyone in here. You can see that I'm like forcing map control. As an attacker, you have to. And if you're scared to take gunfights, I'm sorry, bro, but you're not going to make a lot of big plays. You can't be scared to take initiative halfway through the round. Because on defense, they're playing time. On defense, all they have to do is just sit, because if the attackers don't do anything, then ultimately you win the round by default because they're playing the bomb, right? So as a defender, you want to shut down those plays if you see them happen. If I'm a defender right here and my teammate dies right behind me in green, I have to assume the worst, that he took the map control. Now that becomes more of a priority than them, you know, planting the bomb or them on the breach. Then I'm going to find a way to kill this guy who just, you know, that just took our map control, right? So vice versa, if I'm defending, I want to shut down all that space making. I want to make sure no one's walking past Sky Bridge. I want to make sure that no one else is hopping through windows or walking up staircases. As a defender, you want to cover up your gaps. That's why playing traps against an aggressive team is so good, because they can't make any space. And if they do, they're gonna hop into a fucking shotgun barrel looking down their throat with the fucking Legion Mine and Frost Mine and 500 other traps. But a general tip for playing passive and aggressive is looking at the numbers on your screen. Do you have an advantage in man count, like a 5v4? Okay, then play passive. If you have a 3v5, right, then you're gonna want to get a little more aggressive because you're losing a lot of man advantage and you kind of want to even out that man count. Because ultimately in higher lobbies, if you have less players than the other team, then as shit goes down in the final fight, you're just going to get outnumbered. Now, ultimately, this will lead to my next tip for diamond, but I want you guys, again, just as an attacker, look for space making to make. It's going to be a little nervous, because you're just going to be hopping through a window and taking a gunfight first. But if no one else does it, you're going to lose the round. And again, learn how to play aggressive and passive. Play aggressive if you don't have the lead in the round. You don't have enough players in your team alive. And play passive when, time's running low and you have to force the enemy to make a bad decision. When are you going to teach us how to run a bathhouse? I'm so close to just ending the stream and finishing this video off stream, okay? Do you want me to end the stream right now, bro? All right, moving on to diamond. Now, a lot of you guys are probably hitting diamond because of rank 2.0. I'm not going to call you a fake diamond, but for the most part, diamond, you're diamond. You're already in champ lobbies for the most part. The biggest thing I see in champion lobbies is not how good someone's aim is, or how they are playing on the scoreboard, because sometimes it is that, but it's a team effort. It is how consistently are you guys closing out rounds. As a defender, how many times have you guys lost a 4v2? Or even on attack, how many times has it been a 4v2 and the guy has the bomb, is not planting, and eventually it's a 2v2, and next thing you know it's a 1v2, right? How can we prevent that? Very similar to the emerald tip, but just fucking stay alive. Play passive. Like, why are you peeking? Can you not wait 30 seconds to get the same exact kill? If you just wait 30 seconds or wait 40 seconds, you're going to get the same exact kill on the scoreboard. You'll go from 1 kill to 2 kills. But sometimes you guys are so impatient that you just have to chase after it. Some tips for closing out rounds is sometimes that could look like a, mid-round reinforcement. Let's say it's a 3v3 and you lost control of this part of the map, right? All right, let's close it off. Let's force them to walk through doorways now. I want to force them to take bad gunfights because they, as an attacker, enter something called crossfires. When they enter through this room, they are exposed to potentially this angle, this angle, this angle, and this angle. There's 4 different angles they have to worry about. Why? Because we're forcing them into bad positions. But let's say if they get right here, right? And as a defender, I get too impatient and I start fucking jiggle peeking them and thinking I'm Shaiko. Whee! Then I lose, then I die right here, and then I'll have the advantage. So don't take bad gunfights later in the round. If you guys just learn how to close out rounds, basically you say, oh, I'm gonna start trying now. Say that way earlier in the round before you guys hit overtime. It's so ridiculous. Another thing that can help closing out rounds is maybe you intentionally don't even mean to die, but later in the round you want to think, okay, where are they going to execute and how is the round going to pan out, right? Oh, I'm going to use my smokes right here and then force them to like a close range fight with a shotgun, right? Or maybe let's say if it's a 2v2, right? This is very common. I have one teammate playing pillar and I'm right here, right? I want to communicate with my teammate because we're talking in game chat. Hey, I'm gonna watch the IT door swing off my contact. This is called a crossfire. If anything, I probably should have said crossfire but crossfires are good for closing out rounds anyways. So this way, there's physically no way he can kill me unless the enemy swings in. This allows my teammate in pillar to play jack passive, and when I hear the enemy's gun go off, I'm just gonna pre-aim exactly where he's gonna be and then kill him. This is guaranteed to close out a round. So if you freaking defenders can just stay alive and work with your team and hold good angles, you're gonna close out rounds like 30% more. Same with attack. If you have a 4v2 but the bomb is not down yet, bro, just wait. You have a minute left. Drone out the last 2 players and don't give him that gap. Don't give him that opening to clutch up. Now that you know the bomb is, then now you can play a little bit more into the objective. But that is my biggest tip for diamond. If anything, whenever I've soloed a champion like at least 5 times now, and the biggest thing I see is people not closing out rounds. And that's one thing I'll start doing more is I'll stop dying early first if I'm trying to go for a ballsy play. My risk of plays goes down a lot earlier in the round. I'll still like shoot drones early, but then like it'd be like, oh, this gunfight's not worth it. I'd rather, take a higher percentage win to win this gunfight. All right, now the last tip for champion. I mean, if you're watching my videos and you're champion, good for you. But a lot of people, it's their first time being champion for rank 2.0. Biggest tip I can give you, and you probably already know this, is don't solo queue. Don't try to be a lone player. If you want to get to champion and eventually maybe even compete in tournaments, you have to be a team player. You have to learn how to slow down Realize you're not the star out of every match. Just because you're top frag does not mean your team sucks. You have to understand that, like, scoreboard does not matter in champion elo ranked. It's all about how many rounds you're winning and how many rounds you're closing out. And ultimately, you want to be careful to not get in the wrong stacks. It's very easy to see, oh, these players are high champion rank, they're playing very well, but they could be playing with cheaters, they could be toxic, and later down the line, they could give you a bad reputation. I've played my fair share amount of, you know, just because they're champion and good at the game, I'll play with them a little bit, but down the line, they end up getting exposed because they're playing with cheaters, they're toxic, rude to other, you know, people in the community. You don't want to be around the wrong people like that. So have a good social presence, make a Twitter, get involved in the R6 community, and I mean, if you're a champion, you mostly already know what you're doing for the most part. But if anything, just get yourself in the right stacks. But guys, that is my tip to defeat every single rank. So chat, please say goodbye to YouTube. Make sure you subscribe to get my in-game charm. I'll show y'all real quick. But ultimately, yeah, that's the best tip to get out of every single rank, is to equip my in-game charm right here. If you like boba, or if you like the Lakers of Kobe Bryant, get my charm in game. This increases testosterone by a lot and your aim by 15%. But thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.